Hi guys. As you can tell, my favorite backdrop to life is nature. When I came to you the last time, I was coming to you from a stump. This time I found a tree that's still standing, and it's hard telling how long this tree's been standing here. And it's also hard telling how many storms this tree has endured and is still standing. Very strong. Its root system is very powerful. I'm sitting on one of its roots right now. It's grounded deeply. And that brings me to our discussion for today. How we can be grounded sometimes and rooted in some of the wrong ideas. And how do we learn how to shift the way we think? How do we learn how to reevaluate and re-narrate our life? How do we move to a space, as I've mentioned to you before, where we become the authors of our story instead of letting other circumstances or individuals or people in our life that we come in contact with, instead of letting someone else write the story? How do we make the change? So I wanted to talk about changing your life starting today and a few simple ways to do that. Some of the things that I will share with you up front are just ideas of things that I have used myself to bring about change in my own life, and that's really the reason that I share it with you. You know, somebody asked me one time not too long ago, said, who gives you the authority to say such and such? It was something, I can't remember what it was I said. And I said, well, I don't really claim any authority. Honestly, all I can give you is what I have experienced in my own life and some things that have helped me with that process. And hopefully that comes right along and works with what the doctors are telling you and what your therapists are telling you and what your counselors are telling you. In some way, hopefully these all harmonize together. You know, to harmonize doesn't mean that you sound alike. It just means to sound together. That's how we end up with a concert. A concert is not everything sounding the same. It's them working in harmony together, and that helps to create music. Cool? Cool. Let's go along today for a few things. Number one, you can't give away what you don't have in you. You can't give away what you don't have. You've heard me mention before that if you squeeze an orange, what comes out of it? Orange juice, right? Not lemon juice, not apple juice, not grapefruit juice. What comes out of the orange is orange juice because that's what's in the orange. Think about that. So what's in you is going to come out of you when life squeezes you, when the pressure comes on. So you can't give away what you don't have within you. So one of the things that's important is that we remember, I don't know that we attract what we want. I think we attract what we are. And so it's about shaping the life we want from the inside out that makes us able to attract what we are to ourselves. These signals that we send out, the way we're living our life. So I wrote a few things down. In order to love others, first you must love yourself. So if you find it hard to love yourself, you're going to find it hard to love others because it starts from the inside. This philosophy applies to all things in life. If you're not taking care of yourself first, you're literally not equipped to provide for others. And providing for others, solving problems, and being of a strong character are the cornerstones of a successful life. Remember though, it starts with you loving you and taking care of you first. This gives you the ability to take care of others. So think about that. You can't give away. The next time you come into a situation where you feel like you're not giving enough to whatever the relationship may be, remember that you can't give away what you don't have within you. Number two, and this is something that I think is very important. Very important. Number two, don't identify yourself with what you accomplish. Be careful that the accomplishments in your life, and the failures for that matter, but the accomplishments in your life don't take over and become just an ego trip. See, the thing is if you become what you have or what you can do, what happens to you when you can't do or you don't have anymore? The real you would get lost. So be careful that you don't identify yourself with what you accomplish. And here's a couple of things. You're not your accomplishments. You are so much more than the accomplishments. You cannot base your idea of success on what you have done or what you have earned in this life. True success comes from who you really are, the way you love, and what you give. The way you love and what you give. Number 3, as you think, so shall you be. Now, we have talked about this so many times in the classes that I've shared with you. What you're thinking about in some way is what you're bringing about. And so when's the last time you stopped to think about what you're thinking about? What is your focus? What are you focusing on? Are you focusing on positive and successful and good thoughts? Or are you focusing on negative thoughts? You need to think about what you're thinking about, because as you think, so shall you be. What you think about, you bring about. When you embrace this concept and become conscious of your mind, you're able to choose which thoughts serve you and reject the rest. If the thought is not serving for your greater good, then reject the thought. Just let it go. This mental trick is the utmost importance when you are working towards creating a successful and a happy life. Remember these words: as you think, so you become. That's who you're going to be. Number 4, and I think this is very important, especially for us who have gotten on further up in years, it's important for us to be open-minded. Be open-minded. Look at yourself in the mirror when you start your day and say, whatever your name may be. For me, it would be John. John, be open-minded. Be flexible in your ideas. No one knows everything. No one knows everything. Say that out loud where you are right now. No one knows everything. Once you decide on a belief, you can become rigid, and therefore you limit your life experiences. Just stay open. Krishnajita said years ago, "Blessed are the flexible, for they are not easily broken." Blessed are the flexible, for they are not easily broken. This tree, speaking of trees, if this tree doesn't have flexibility to sway with the winds that come, it would find itself broken. So we need to be mindful. We need to be mindful and stay aware of our flexibilities, especially when you come in contact with something that you hear that sounds different or maybe goes against a belief that you might have. Although it may be true, it still may go against a belief that you have. Be mindful that you back up from it and you say, wait just a minute, what is it about this that's wrong? Is it wrong because it's actually wrong? Is it wrong because I think it's wrong? And can my thinking be adjusted? So, be open-minded. I like to say that successful people are open to everything and attached to no thing. Also, successful people always choose to see other people's points of view without judgment or criticism. Successful people need to be able to receive from others, and one of the best signs of success is someone who is able to be open-minded. Number 5, change the way you look at things. Dr. Wayne Dyer, one of my favorite teachers and who was a mentor in my life, still is really with his writings and his lectures, but before he passed away, I had a special relationship with him, and he used to say this all the time. When you change the way you see the world you see will change. It's odd, but it's true. When you change the way you see the world you see will change. Perception is the ultimate reality, even if it's not the ultimate truth. How many of you ever met somebody before that had a particular perception of something, and they could see in a statement or see in someone something that you just absolutely couldn't understand how they saw that? There's no way you could see it that way. Well, it's because of the way they were looking at it. In fact, there's ancient wisdom, it's a Zen proverb that says, don't change what you're looking at, change the way you're looking at it. Don't change what you're looking at, change the way you are looking at it. Your perspective comes from within. Do you want to choose to see the world as a hostile place, or do you want to see the world as full of opportunity and love? You have the choice. The choice you make will determine the success you have in your life. Think about that. You have the power to choose. Say that. Pat yourself on the chest and say, I have the power to choose. So you can change the way you look at things. Number 6, no one likes being told what to do. Now here's the thing. At times we are told where to go, when to go, and how to go. There are reasons for that in different things. But know this, no one can tell you how to think. Even if they tell you how to think, you have to decide to think that way. And none of us wants to be told what to do. But don't be self-righteous. You don't know it all. Now, I want us to be careful now. No one likes to be told what to do, but you need to be careful that you don't become so self-righteous that you think you know it all. When you wake up in the morning, most of us, when we wake up in the morning, we think we know everything there is to know about just about everything that we're going to experience that day. But the Dalai Lama said this, and I agree. When we speak, we're only relaying what we already know. When we get quiet, we might just learn something more. So think about that. Don't be self-righteous. You don't know it all. If you want to be an influencer in the world and actually make an impact, people need to want to listen to what you have to say. That is how you lead, not by preaching. And I'll say this further. If you expect others to listen to what you have to say, you have to be willing to listen to what they have to say as well. The greatest teachers are lifetime students, always learning. Number 7, this was seen on a wall at a Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, and I think it's profound. Number 7, for a successful life. Remember, we're working on changing our life. Number 7, there are no justified resentments. None. When you hold on to resentment, you'll turn around one day and find out it's holding on to you. It's holding you hostage. You become a slave to it. It is not a slave to you. There's no reason to hold on to the past. The anger, the resentment, hate has no place in the mind of a successful person. In fact, hate narrows the mind. I have known people that are so full of hatred that they can look through a keyhole with both eyes. That's how narrow-minded they are, because they've not let go of resentments and the need to control others. These emotions are toxic and they don't serve you. So let them go. Let the resentments go. Just let them go. There's no point in hanging on to them. The Buddha said one time, many years ago, he said, resentment is like holding on to a hot coal, preparing to throw it at your enemy. In the process, you get burned. Think about that for just a moment. Every resentment that you have is burning you first. It's hurting you first. So success follows those who learn how to let go of resentments. So say this every day. There's no justified resentments. Number 8, stop finding excuses. If you wake up in the morning and you look for a bag of excuses, you'll find several bags of excuses. If we believe that the things that have happened in the past have control over our future, we are destined to fail. You are not your past circumstances. You are who you choose to be today. Even the mistakes that you had were not mortal. That's why you're watching this video. If your mistakes had been mortal, you wouldn't be seeing this message right now. So you're here for a reason. You're here for a reason. So stop making excuses. Stop finding excuses. Don't look for them. They'll find you, but don't look for those ways to be offended and look for those excuses throughout a day on this will be too hard to do. See, if you think that there's a task you're wanting to undertake and you decide within yourself it's going to be too hard to do, you'll talk yourself out of doing it. If you believe you can do something, you probably can. But if you believe you can't do it, you most assuredly will not. Think about that for just a moment. Think about that. So stop finding excuses. And I love this one, number 9. Walk down another street. You've heard me read the poem before that says, I walk down the street, there's a hole in the street, I fall in. It's not my fault. I don't know why I'm here. It takes me forever to get out. I walk down the road, that street. There's a hole in the street. I fall in again. It's still not my fault. It hurts, and it still takes me a while to get out. I walk down the street. There's a hole in the street. I fall in even though I've seen it more than once. It's a habit. I recognize it, and I get out immediately. I walk down the street. There's a hole in the sidewalk. I walk around it. I love the last stanza of the poem by Portia Nelson. It says, I walk down a different street. This is what I mean when I say walk down another street. The definition of insanity is repeating the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. What you practice becomes a habit, and your habit becomes your habitat. It's the life that you build, the habits you create. Create your habitat, the life you will live. So what is it today that you can do to break the cycle? Well, you can unlearn and relearn. You can reimagine a new existence, a better existence. But you will need to walk down another street in order to do so. You have to change your path in order to change your destination. Number 10, don't die with your music still in you. Now, this doesn't just speak to musicians. What I mean by that is the music and the harmony of your life. Don't leave this earth without giving it away. Don't be afraid to march to the beat of your own drum. We all have a unique, perfect purpose for being. Be brave. Let the world around you see the true you. The most success you can experience in life comes from following your heart and living in your highest values. Remember, when you value others and when you give, when you live a life of giving, it creates a life of success. So don't die with your music still in you. Here's 5 practical things to do, and I'll close the video with this. 5 practical ways to start changing your life right now, today. First, develop a breathing habit, a breathing practice. That sounds strange to some, but truly, if you change, you come into a concentration on your breath, and you get into some breathing techniques, you reduce stress. It helps you with better energy. It also helps you with sleep. It helps with your anxiety levels to reduce them, some mental clarity. It also helps with a sense of calmness. There's all kinds of videos on YouTube about breathing practices. If you just type that into YouTube, you can begin right now learning a practice. Number 2, journaling. Write down the thoughts and the circumstances that came throughout your day. Write them down, or at least mentally write them down, and strategize within yourself. How could I deal with that a little differently? How can I change that? Maybe I could come at it from a different angle. Write it down so that you'll be able to see it clearly. Number 3, increase your knowledge. Every single day, increase your knowledge. You can know more about the life you're living, even if it's just typing again into a YouTube video, 3 unique birds, anything, and you'll see a YouTube video come up and tell you about these 3 unique birds. So increase your knowledge, expand your mind. Meditation practice, I don't need to jump in on that. You all guys all know that I've talked to you before many times about a meditation practice. It's vitally important that you find time to meditate in some way, to contemplate in some way. It doesn't have to be a religious practice. This is actually just a practice of being still and sitting with your own self. Number 5, exercise, movement. Get out and move around. Even in those moments where you feel like not moving. In fact, when you don't feel like moving, that's the time to get up and move. Even if it's just walking down the hall a couple of times. Stretch a little bit. Throw your arm over one shoulder, throw it over the other shoulder. Stretch some. Allow yourself to move. Turn your head, roll your shoulders. Get into some kind of movement. If you don't like basketball, don't play basketball. If you don't like ping pong, don't play ping pong. If you don't like push-ups, don't do that. But find some way to be active. These are practical ways to change the rest of your life. You can begin today. Peace to all of you. I cannot wait to see you soon.